Good afternoon. About to say good morning. I have had such a busy morning. I've just started doing live classes on a Friday morning. So I'm sort of still organising myself a little bit for today, for our live. Don't need those, that's fine. We're going to have another bit of a play. Now, because I have had a class this morning, I haven't had a chance really to exactly work out what we're doing. But we're going to play and see what we come up with. What's probably even the best way to go. So nothing is prepared, nothing is pre-organized. We're just going to see what we come up with. So what we're using today is, of course, the Oh Holy Night Suite. So I've got some designer series paper. I've got 2 to 3 ideas in my head of how this is going to work. We're going to be using the deckled circle dies, and we're using the big ones. Hi, Linny, how are you? So please jump on, say hello, and let me know where you're from if it's the first time you've been on here. But let's get started, because this could take us a little while. So not too long, I hope. But just got to see if I can get what's in my brain down here onto paper. And that can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge. So I have just grabbed some Night of Navy cardstock. I have 3 pieces of designer series paper, because as I said, I've got 3 different ideas in my head. These 2 would make up a simplified version. This one here I would use if I was going to be doing a little bit more of a technical version, which is the one I'm sort of swaying to at the moment, because it's a little bit more creative, and I like to be creative. But I thought I'll cut these up and then I can show you other ways you can do this as well without putting it together. I've got the very largest deckled edge circle die, which is in the mini catalogue that is now live. Really worthwhile getting. There is a huge number of dies in this, and the biggest one just fits into our cut and emboss, and I'm using the next size down. Of course, I've got my dies that are in the Oh Holy Night of the nativity scene. What else do I have here? I have chosen a sentiment from the suite, and I'm going to use The Lord is My Shepherd. I thought that was most appropriate. I've also got some very vanilla cardstock, and I've picked up some scraps of cardstock here in the Wild Wheat, Early Espresso. This is a good test for the brain. It's this one, Pebble Path. This one here. Oh, it's not working. Someone tell me what that one is called. Hi, Lorraine. How are you? Crumb Cake and Basic Black. And that's the one I can't remember the name of. It's not one I use a lot. Trying to think. I keep looking around for the stamp set, and it's sort of hidden away down there. We'll work that one out later, and I'm sure one of you will be able to tell me what it is. Okay. So let's pop all this to one side and let's get started, because what we need to do first off is to make our card base. So I need to pop all these dies somewhere where I'm not going to lose them. So I'll pop them all up there. And I've got my Night of Navy. Now I've got a full sheet of Night of Navy and a half, and I've already scored this because we're going to make an easel card. So I've just taken a full piece of A4 cardstock. Pecan pie, thank you very much, Lenny and Lorraine, for reminding me that one. Oh, the brain's a bit of a sieve this morning. And we're going to just fold that in half there. So I've already scored that at 14.9, and I'm just going to fold that in half, and I'm going to use the large deckled circle to make our base for our card. So what I'm going to do is we're going to, and I've got some post-it note tape here because I'm going to need that just to hold these things into place. And what I want to do is I'm going to lay that onto there, but I just want a little bit of my edge coming over the top. Now I'll just stick this down and then I'll show you what I mean, because this is going to be the base, the stand of our card. So if I fold that over, you can see that my folded edge of my cardstock, let me just bring it up a little bit higher, doesn't go over that cutting edge of my die. Okay, so when I run that through my cut and emboss, that will cut both those two pieces together. So let me do that now. I used to hold Friday morning classes, and a few years back it sort of changed, and then I had no one that was interested in coming in the morning, and now I've got 2 people that want to do morning classes, so that's why I've had to start them up again. They may change to Thursdays as yet, which will make things a bit easier for me here, because I am pushing it. I haven't had lunch yet, but it's a lovely group. 2 ladies that come on a Friday morning, and they're a lovely, lovely couple of ladies, so it's really nice to have them with me. And let's just take that through our cut and emboss machine. Okay, so now what we should be left with, that's all worked well. Here's a piece that was supposed to be hinged and it didn't work. Something must have moved. Okay, that's all right. I needed to cut another one of those. Let's try that again, because I think that moved on me. Hi, Carol. How are you? We're just going to try getting this piece, hinged piece for our easel card, correct. We got it wrong. So we're going to try that again. And this time, hopefully it won't move. Okay. So I just want to score that, not cut it. Maybe I cut it. No, I did. It was one piece. I folded it. Folded it in front of you. Oh. It's okay. It'll all come together. If not, I'll end up with lots and lots of circles. Okay, so let's try this again. So we want to have that going over the edge. And you could probably take it over the edge a bit more anyway. So we'll make it well and truly, because it's going to have a panel on top. Okay, so that's now well and truly over. So this time that should really work, because I think my die must have moved even though I had it taped down. Let's run that through. Everyone got their fingers crossed. Get that through, because we are going through double thickness. Okay. This time it's definitely hinged. So there we are, and there's our hinged piece there. So let me just fold this up. We are still going to be needing that, so I'm not going to pop that away. So what I do need to do now is maybe give this a bit of a score, because we need to fold this back a little bit like a Z fold card. So where's our other 2 pieces? This is my mistake pieces, but I'm going to be able to use these, so that's fine. And what I want to do is find out exactly how wide this is, and it is, might be better with a ruler because I'm going to get that. It is 14.5, so that's 7.25. So this will be, if it's not correct, it will be close. 7.25, which is, if I pop my ruler into here just as a guide, it's just for positioning that, which is going to give me that there. I only need my score blade. I'm not cutting, and I'm just going to score that there. It just has to be a light score, because all it's just giving me is a, hopefully if I've got everything square. That's the one thing I didn't check, but that's going to go that way. That's going to go back this way, and I don't think I quite got it square. That's okay. It will work out because all this gets covered up. It's not far off, just a little bit. Just playing just to help me get this. And because this is not a straight line circle, which means the edges are deckled, they're odd shapes. That was just so minutely out. I can't line up the straight edge. That's okay. That was only out by 1 millimeter, if that really. So that's basically, so what we've done is we've die cut that with an edge there, and then we want to fold that back so it comes past that. So that's part of our circle. The next part is actually going to be able to match that up, but I wouldn't be worrying about trying to match those deckled edges up. But that's eventually going to get glued onto there, and that will form a bit of our Z fold for our easel card. So there's your Z fold part, and then we're putting this piece on top, and that's going to form that easel card there. So I hope you've got that. Now, I want to cut using the smaller circle a piece which is going to be my background. Now, this is where I've got the 3 pieces of designer series paper. So what we can do is just, let me remove that one for the moment. If you wanted to have a background behind your scene, which is like sand dunes, that sort of thing, this piece of designer series paper would work out really well. Hi Jenny, how are you? Am I on a bit early? No, 1 o'clock is usually my time. So I think I was pretty much on time, but that's okay, Jenny. You can easily catch up. I'm not that far ahead. We're making an easel card using our deckled circle dies and our Oh Holy Night dies as well. So, and designer series paper. So we could use that, which will give you a whole scene, and then all you need to do is then place on your nativity scene. The other one that you could do this with is with that one, and there you've got a sky and so forth, and again you've already got your background created. So that's 2 ways that we could make this card, and both of them would look wonderful. The other way, which is the way I'm thinking, and as I said before, I haven't really made up my mind, but I thought what we might do is I might use this piece of designer series paper and cut that out. And in my class today, I was doing lots of tearing. We were tearing our designer series paper and our white core paper to make our cards. I'm in a tearing mood. So what I thought I might do is create a bit of a scene here on this using some different coloured papers. So I've got all my cardstock here, which we're also going to use to create our nativity scene. But I thought I might get a few of those pieces and we'll tear it most likely in that colour, in your crumb cake, in your pebble path. I'm thinking maybe some early espresso, and do those colours to create a bit of a scene. So sand scene looks like one of those round sand things. Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it? You know, the wall hanging art where it's sand in liquid and it just falls down. It does look a bit like that. So I'm thinking we might create a scene doing this. So let's start by cutting this piece here. Now I'm going the size down. So we need those two pieces. I'm going to go the size down in my circle. And let's cut this through. Now I've just cut a 6-inch piece of designer series paper, so it's 6 inches square. Let's just make sure we've got that on straight. That's that piece, and then we have these. Now these are the 3 pieces I'm thinking. Now I might just have to see whether that's going to fit in there. Yes. So I need to cut each one of these. But I'm not doing a full circle on each one of these. I'm just doing a bottom half, and I'm not going to worry so much about trying to get all the deckled edges going the right way. Now you could tear all these and layer them up and glue them all together and then put the whole lot together in one piece. That was one plan, but I think might have been don't want to put too much pressure sending it through the cut and emboss. So let's try it this way. I haven't worked out which is going to be the foreground or the background, so they're all roughly the same size. So what's everyone's weather like? It is so windy here. I think I haven't been outside, but I think if I went outside, I'd get blown away. Now this piece is slightly smaller, so I might need a bigger piece of the pebble path. So let me have a look and see what I've got here. Did I pull out? Yes. Got a bigger bit here, so we'll use this piece. Because some of these pieces I also want to use too for my manger pieces. Oops, let's just get that there. Okay, so at the moment, what I'm looking at, that's our piece. It's going to be our go on there. This one here is going to go there. Now we've got to work out which order we're going to have these. So we're going to do a bit of tearing. I think we're going to have this piece at the background. Now I'm going to tear towards myself, which is going to give a furry edge to this side. And it doesn't have to be straight. We want to have some hills and some, so we can have things going up and down. So we're going to have that piece onto there like that. Next piece down be this one. So let's tear this one again. I want to tear to myself. That was just my doorbell, and they can just go away. I want to tear that one. Now we can add more layers underneath if we want to. And this one here, again, I'm going to tear like that. And that's the idea, is to create those sort of layers. Now what I might do is, I've got two hills on one side, but let's just see, because we could flip that way. So if we did that like that, might have to re-tear that one. Sort of lost could even take that a little bit higher there, which is going to bring that to there. It's almost like I need something going through there. Okay, so if we're going to put another colour in through there, just to give a little bit more height, what colour would we use? No. Because you could use some of this. Could use some of this intermittently throughout too, because that would look not bad. I know we're going to use that for, so we want those. We want to get rid of that. Let's cut a circle out in this. Now, is that my smaller circle? Yep. You reckon Knight of Navy, Glenda? So you would put a piece of Knight of Navy in behind that. You could do. Okay. Glenda's idea was to add a bit of Knight of Navy rather than the printed. What does everybody else think? So you've got, let me get rid of some of these things out of my hand. You've got adding that into there. Or Glenda's just suggesting to add, whoops, add just Night of Navy in there. Now you're not sure. Or add that one. I'm tending to go for this, just for the fact that it's got a little bit more red in it. I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to cut that out anyway. We've got a piece of Night of Navy. If we don't like it, we don't like it. It's the beauty of doing all of this. We're just playing and seeing what works. And, of course, having you guys there to help me and is always a lot of fun. Okay, so let's have a look. So I was thinking of popping that onto there because my manger piece here, I was thinking of doing that in either probably Crumb Cake or Pebble Path. So let's pop that there. And have those pieces going on there, something like that. And then because that's going to get covered up. Most of this is going to get covered up. It's really just to get, trying to work out where I'll get a tear from. Hint of colour in there. But I'm wondering if that white's a little bit too much. So if I actually tear a bit of this. So I'm tearing it the opposite way. So I've got not a white edge on there. And having that there. So that'll go there. Can even put that piece maybe in between. How's that? Because then all of this is going to sit on top, and that takes up the whole room with that circular die. I think we're going to be looking good. Okay. Whoops, my light just went out because I touched it. There we go. It's back on again. So let's start gluing. It's going to make it very bottom heavy because we've got lots of layers in here, but that's okay. So what I want to try to do is layer and I'm just going to lift up the flap here and just put glue on each one. And while the glue's still wet, I mean, I haven't put a huge amount yet, but just make sure I'm bringing all of these edges up together. This one here can come down just a little bit because that's going to give us, hide all those bits and pieces. So I've made that crumb cake one just that little bit lower. Now put that glue in there just to hold all of that. Now that's just got everything in the position where I want it. Now I'm just going to add, don't need to add much glue there, but maybe add a little bit more glue on all those layers in there, just to hold all of that in place. So there's our sky, and then that's going to glue straight down on top like that. Now we've got a bit of texture in our sky. We can have our texture going straight up and down. Actually, I like it that way because you've got the long line of that. So if I have that long line, that's going to go like that. So I've got the stars, I've got a long line in it, so it's giving me a direction, and that's the way I want to go. So let's pop some glue onto that. Again, we can just take that down a little bit. And then that's going to glue on there, and because we've got that little bit of a border. Turn it upside down and just give that a really good press. So now that is going to glue on there like that. And that will form our card. So what I'm going to, I think I will glue this on now. So let me pop some glue on here. Normally I would put all my decoration and everything on, but this is such a big area and I want it to sit correctly. So let's just pop glue onto there. And we want to make sure, now I'm not worrying about matching up all the ins and outs of the, just want to have my scene on here straight. I got enough of that there, or should I just turn it that little bit extra? I think that will do. So by the time we put something on the bottom there and we have a little stand there to hold that up, hopefully that will sit just like that. Okay, so far what's in my head is coming out. So let's get rid of some of these pieces, and we want to cut some of our die pieces out. So I said I want to cut that in either crumb cake or in the pebble path. I just have to cut a couple of these pieces down a bit. So we could do it in that. Or in that. Now what I thought I would do is do a little bit of sponging in. So I could do it in that and do some sponging on that in the pebble path, because this has got some embossing lines, and what I wanted to do, I've got a dauber here and I want to just very lightly put some colour onto the raised edges, just so that it looks a little bit more textured rather than just flat. Now, whether I do that, I'm thinking at the moment going towards this because I think I might do all my animals and everything in that. So let's go with this one. If it doesn't look good, we can try it again. It's all trial and error. And sometimes playing with these designs, it's just playing with different ideas and seeing how they work. Okay, so there's our piece there, and it's got all those lovely embossed areas. So what I wanted to do is thinking of doing, I was almost thinking of actually putting the ink straight onto this too, you know. That could have even worked. Okay, let's give this a go. Let's just let's see how this works. If it doesn't work, I'll do the other way I was thinking. Okay, so some pebble path here, and I was thinking of just I'm just pouncing it. How does that look? Is that going to look any good on that? Just to give it some age and definition, because we've also got that colour right there. Or should I put some ink on this and run it through again? Because if I put ink on this, it's going to end up with the ink on the inside of those veins. I might just keep going with the way I'm thinking at the moment. Because I'm thinking of also just adding a little bit of that's pebble path I've added on there. Now I'm just going to take a bit of that colour off there. And I'm thinking of coming back in with early espresso. Don't want everything all in browns though, do we? I'm just adding that's giving that timber a lot of grey, but I'm just adding a little bit of early espresso because we want to age it. I mean, these things weren't brand new. Actually, that looks pretty good with both of those colours in that. I'll bring it up to the camera so you can actually see it. I don't know. See how it's got both of those colours. It's got like your crumb cake in your background, and then it's got the pebble path underneath, which has given it a bit of a grey toning, and then the early espresso on top. So I think that's going to stand out nicely on there. Okay, so now we've got some more die cutting, more colours to choose. Now, when I did this card a few weeks back, using these dies, I cut this out in black. Now, whether we still cut them out in black, I'm thinking of doing that in black. And then the animals, I wanted to have them in the background, but I was a bit worried with the black on black. So I was sort of thinking I might do the animals in different colours. Now, I was sort of thinking the camel can do in that one. We could do the donkey in maybe the pebble path. See if I've got enough scraps here that we can do these in that. I should be able to. So there's our donkey. So we can do our camel, our donkey. We did that one in some black. And then we've got our sheep and our calf. Don't want to do them in crumb cake because they're just going to disappear. Let's see. Let's just cut those ones out first, and then we'll come back to them and see what other colours, because we could choose. So what I want you to think about is what other colour we could use for the sheep or the lamb. If you use a white or an ivory or the very vanilla, they're going to stick out. They're going to jump out, but it has to be an earthy tone. Of course, it can't be a blue. It can't be a green. You could add some colour to something like we just did to the timber. Think about it while I'm cutting these and let me know. What you think. I'm looking for your opinion. Perhaps a pale grey. Yeah, that's a good idea. So that could be, I'll have to get up to get that. That's fine. But yeah, like because you've also got your grey granite. That would go well because grey granite is it's got a brown toning to it. And then you have your basic grey. That would even, I'm not quite sure about the smoky slate. We'll have to get that out and have a look. Very good idea, Margie. I like that one. So that's why I like to ask questions. Because sometimes I find it's, even though I haven't got you here, sitting here with me, it's really good to share ideas because we all see slightly different things. And sometimes you see something that I don't see. Just popping all my dies up there so I don't lose them. So let me just grab might be one sec. Very vanilla sponged with crumb cake. Yeah, that might work. The only problem is with that, I'm thinking, what if the crumb cake would be too much, like you'd lose it in here. But that is a good thought. Let's just grab some scraps in the grey. I don't mind if I've got to cut out a few more animals and things. So at the moment, we've sort of got a nativity scene. And these could be, I mean, these even still could be too big because you don't, the nativity actually takes up quite a bit of room. But I do just want to get rid of a little bit of this crumb cake by popping some of these into the background. But that's the way I'm sort of thinking at the moment, because we don't need a sentiment on that. The sentiment's going to go below. Let me just bring that down a little bit so you can see it and contemplate what else you think we could do. And while I just grab some greys. But that's looking good. Oops. Sorry, just got to get my chair in closer. It's not on wheels, so it keeps getting stuck on my mat. Okay, so I've only got two little animals left. We've got our little sheep and our calf. I probably would go for I do like that colour because that colour sort of tones in really well. I'm just wondering if that's going to be too dark. Let's have a look. I'm just going to tear a bit of cardstock here. You can always come back and use that basic grey. Because these are really supposed to be just like silhouettes, so it doesn't have to be precise. Okay then. And so how about something like that? What do you think of those colours? And the cow doesn't have to be there. Like the donkey sitting there because he's sort of looking this way. Camel's good there because he's sitting looking that way. The cow is looking, or the calf is looking more straight ahead. This is looking that way, but I think that's okay. Okay, then let's start putting some of this down. So the first thing I want to pop down is this piece here. I'm not going to put, I'm gluing this straight down, but I'm not going to put a huge amount of glue because I do want to be able to stick a few things in underneath. And it can hang over the bottom of that circle. We don't want to make it look like it's crowded in there. We could, if we wanted to, cut more sheep and add a few more sheep in the background. And these pieces are all going to be just glued in. Because I'm going to pop the nativity scene on dimensional because I want it to be the highlight, because that is the hero of our story. You can stand back there a little bit. Wondering whether we might do a few more sheep and do them in the crumb cake and then sponge them a little bit, Lenny. Or do them in the very vanilla and sponge them a bit, because we could, I mean, they were shepherds. Shepherds had more than one sheep to look after. That's going to go probably around about there. We still haven't stuck our calf down yet. So, where's our little sheep? Let's just do at least another 2 sheep. That will give us 3. I might pop this onto some dimensionals. Let me just grab my black ones. So we can tuck our sheep in underneath behind these. We do have a black sheep in there. So we don't need that bit in there. Oops, don't lose that. I think maybe we need to do a couple of more sheep just to tuck in up in here and maybe up there. So maybe I might just cut a couple more just to fill in some of those little holes. So Lynn suggested very vanilla. Now just need to cut a bit off this. And I'm just wondering, we could still do a couple in these colours. Now, we're still yet to decorate our base too, so we haven't finished decorating by a long shot yet. We need to add our sentiment to the bottom piece as well. Yeah, we don't want to get overly complicated with our background and everything, because our reason for this card is that nativity scene. So sort of want to keep their colours fairly quiet. But I'm just going to pop this to one side. I don't want to get too carried away. Okay, so and I'm actually thinking, instead of using crumb cake, I've just taken a lot of that brown out of that. Add a bit of that to that. Pop that dye there so I don't lose it. And I'm going to do the same with him. Just add a bit of brown onto him. So I'm thinking putting one of them there, one in there, and one maybe coming from behind that donkey. Grab my tweezers. One in there. And then this one here. You're popping him just in there. Because the animals would tend to clump together, keeping each other warm. So there's our little bit of our nativity scene. So that's going to sit up like that. Now we need to add something in here. Now, I want to do our sentiment, and our sentiment we're going to do on this. And I'm just hoping I've got that sort of straight enough. I'm just wondering whether I've got my things a little bit skewy. Oh, well, it will do. So our sentiment we can do on Night of Navy on our very vanilla. And that's going to form our piece to hold. So I've yet to decide what we're going to cut that, what shape. Too small. That wouldn't be too bad in size. I'm thinking that as well. Okay, so that's from the Stylish Shapes. Let's see how this works. Now, this piece here, just trying to grab some of my scraps here. And other piece I want is, oh, but dies everywhere here at the moment. My desk is becoming a real mess. Oh, you should see it. It's just mishmash of everything everywhere. Don't want that one. Who has seen my circle die? There it is. I'm just going to cut out a piece in Very Vanilla, and I'll show you what that will be for in a moment. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I'll show you what I mean in a sec. I'm sort of actually one more thing I want to cut now. Where actually I won't need to cut it. Okay. So I've got that piece. It's got a bit missing. That's okay. I've cut that piece. I've cut those two. And I need the other part of that. This bit. So I'm going to glue that onto there. So that's the bit that was left over from the piece I tore off. And all I'm doing is that little bit of the circle that I'm missing. I'm popping that on there. And that can just come down just a fraction just to hide all of that. Let's pop a little bit of glue in here because that corner there is lifting a bit. So this is going to give you somewhere to write. Now we've got to make sure that we've got this, and I have got that on a bit crooked. I can see that crooked line there. This, my line here, I thought I had it straight, but I haven't. I've actually got it crooked. Probably should have used that piece there as my guide, but it is still going to all work. It will still look lovely. Hold that down. Grab some more dimensionals. And I might use that bit there from the end there. One more little piece. Now, I'm sure if you guys were going to make this at home, you'd have everything probably a lot more straighter than mine. Let's see if I can just get this some sort of resemblance of straightness. There you go. So things that I probably would do a little bit differently if I was doing this again is to make sure that that line there is actually parallel with this fold here. And you can't really see it until you open it up like that. So that there I've got now parallel, but I've got this going off at an angle. So that's probably the one thing that if I was doing this again, I'd probably take a bit more care with that, because then that just throws the rest of it off a little bit. But I don't think you can tell that much. So that's our seam there. And then when you've got him sitting up, and I've just realized there's one little bit here which I didn't take out. Just hoping I didn't put the dimensional underneath that bit. Let's just see if we can get rid of that little bit. Yep, there he goes. That's better. So I hope you've enjoyed that. That was working definitely on the fly today, because that was just something that, yeah, I had it completely in my head, but nothing was sort of planned real well. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you give this a go yourself with using the large beveled circle dies, which you'll find in our mini catalogue at the moment. It's a lot of fun. As I said, you could easily have created those scenes a lot simpler by just using the designer series paper. But I think that made it a little bit more fun and a little bit more enjoyable. And I certainly had a lot of fun. And when I look at it, I think my nativity scene is all very crooked. But hey, it's handmade. It's made with love. And I'm sure whoever ends up getting it will just love it just as much as I do. So have a great day. I've now got a big mess to clean up, both here and out on my dining room table from my class this morning. So I suppose I better get into that before my husband comes home. And I better go and check my front door to see whether that was the postie leaving a parcel when the doorbell rang earlier. So have a great day. I hope it's not too windy where you are. And have a beautiful weekend. And we'll see you next week on Tuesday at 7:30. And we'll create something else, and hopefully this time not by the seat of my pants. See you later. Take care. Bye.